Gentleman from Ohio, Mr. Turner is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the Commission and certainly our two panelists today. It's Ambassador and Jane, it's great to see you. I appreciate what you're bringing forward to us as part of our debate and really our to-do list. Ambassador, I appreciate your reference to Ukraine. I've been in and out of Ukraine with other members of Congress, and when I take them there, they're struck by that you don't have soldiers fighting, you have operators of drones that are not necessarily soldiers. You have your whole acquisition structure is completely changed so that you can move forward innovation to the battlefield. We're not set up for that, and I appreciate you guys in both the Commission's report and in this testimony highlighting that. But there's also something that I think is an incredible point that you've made that is a larger to-do list item, and that is that the U.S. public is largely unaware of the dangers that the United States faces. And the fact that you guys have raised this issue, in fact, you go on to say that they do not appreciate the strength of China and its partnerships or the ramifications of daily life if a conflict were to erupt. They are not anticipating disruptions to their power, water, or access to all goods on which they rely. You go on to say, of course, that the next Pearl Harbor could occur with the American public being completely unaware. So I'm just going to list a couple of things that the American public are not aware of, that I think there's a huge gap between what we deal with every day and what we need to communicate. And the first one, of course, goes directly to what you guys just said. Our adversaries look at civil society as a valid military target. If there is a conflict with China, this is not going to be a regional conflict or a military conflict. It is going to be a civil society disruption. There will be harm that China will seek to do to the American public and disruptions in both our economic and our social structure. You guys identify water, power, all of these things, of course, are crucial for civil society. But also on this side, and the ranking member mentioned missile defense. I was just meeting with fellow NATO Parliamentary Assembly members who are from Europe, and they were all acknowledging that their public and our public actually incorrectly believe that we have a working missile defense system to protect us in case there is a nuclear attack. Europe has nothing. We, of course, do have some ground-based missile defenses that are fielded, but we have an East Coast missile defense site that has been statutorily approved, unbuilt. We've not had an administration that's risen to the level of saying we're going to put these in place. We already mentioned cyber, but even in space, China and Russia are doing anti-satellite programs, and of course, now we've been openly discussing the fact that Russia is developing an anti-satellite nuclear weapon to be put in space. We know that China is tripling its nuclear weapons program. The United States is barely able to modernize, meaning refurbish and keep what we have. Both China and Russia have fielded hypersonics. We do not even have a fully developed hypersonic program. I'm concerned that, in part, we don't highlight these things, minorly, so that we don't alarm the public, but also that the public doesn't hear of the inaction. I think administrations don't inform the public because they don't want the difference between what they should be doing and what what they are actually doing. I'd love to get your thoughts on, Jane, how do we address this gap?